The board has just come out swinging to back Wilfried Nancy despite 4 straight defeats. Thierry Henry is pleading for patience. Match officials have been announced for Sunday's massive Aberdeen clash, and a former Celtic winger has just sealed a huge MLS move. It's been an absolutely wild 24 hours. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic moved quickly to shut down speculation over Wilfried Nancy's immediate future after Wednesday night's defeat at Dundee United. Despite earlier reports of talks to end the Frenchman's brief spell, club sources briefed Record Sport to firmly deny that any discussions are taking place behind the scenes. The paper said Celtic insiders had pushed back strongly on claims that Nancy is on the brink, insisting there has been no board-level move to remove him after 4 defeats in a row. You can forget those Wilfried Nancy rumours, for now at least, Record Sport wrote. Celtic sources are adamant there are no discussions among the board about binning Nancy, an allegation that came from a journalist from another outlet. Sure, the Frenchman remains under pressure, but the club insist it's not coming from them amid fan fury after a woeful run of losses. That briefing matters. It draws a clear line between the growing anger among supporters and the club's internal stance. While frustration has reached boiling point after a disastrous run of results, Celtic appear determined, at least publicly, to show a united front around their head coach. Nancy's start has been brutal. Defeats to Hearts, Roma, St Mirren in the League Cup final, and Dundee United have left Celtic winless under his stewardship. Performances have been disjointed, defensively chaotic, and far from the control supporters expect as a baseline. The numbers are alarming. Celtic have faced an unusually high volume of shots since Nancy arrived, a sharp departure from a team that traditionally strangles domestic opponents and gives up very little territory. That feeds a wider view that the squad is not built for the demands being placed on it, especially without time on the training ground or a transfer window to reshape it. Wednesday did offer fleeting signs of attacking intent. Celtic created openings and found pockets of space. Poor finishing and repeated defensive lapses decided the game, and any positives were drowned out by the result. For now, the club insists through their media pals that Nancy will remain in the dugout, with Aberdeen visiting Celtic Park at the weekend. The fixture now carries enormous weight, not only for league position, but for mood, belief, and credibility. Whether this stance is genuine backing or a temporary holding pattern remains to be seen. What is clear is that Celtic want to calm the noise after another chaotic chapter in a season that keeps lurching from one crisis to the next. Now for the main story, as Arsenal legend Thierry Henry has sent a powerful message backing Wilfried Nancy. Nancy has lost his first 4 matches in charge, a run that matches a club record that has stood since 1978. The results have been bad enough, but the performances have alarmed supporters even more. They worked together at CF Montreal before Nancy took over as manager in 2021, earning praise in MLS for a bold, possession-heavy approach. That background is part of why Celtic moved for him, and part of why the backlash has been sharp. Speaking to the BBC, Henry made it clear he thinks the reaction has gone too far. I see people calling for him to leave the place. As a coach myself, I think it's too early to say that. Let him work and let him cook and judge him maybe at the end of the season. The defense is understandable from a former colleague, but it lands in the middle of a support base that is becoming increasingly alarmed amid a title race. Wednesday night's defeat to Dundee United summed it up. Celtic scored early, controlled the ball, and looked comfortable for most of the first half. There was little threat coming the other way, and the shape held. But as the game wore on, the midfield lost its grip. Defensive transitions became slower, and gaps opened up. Dundee United found space that shouldn't have been there, and they punished it. Henry is right on one point. 4 games should not define a manager. Celtic are set to back Nancy in the transfer window, so any talk of him being sacked will be shelved for now. Supporters are also right to question what they are seeing. The league is unforgiving. Dropped points in December and a cup final loss would put any hoops boss under immense pressure. Nancy now needs to show more than faith in the process. He needs wins, and quickly. They face Aberdeen at Celtic Park on Sunday in what is a crucial match. In other news, the match officials have been confirmed ahead of Sunday's crucial clash with Aberdeen. David Dickinson will referee the game, with Ross McLeod and Ross Nelson as assistants. Greg Aitken is on VAR, with Ross Hardy assisting him. Nancy is still looking for his first win as Hoops manager and will be eager not to break the 47-year record of consecutive defeats at the club. A victory wouldn't suddenly take scrutiny off of Nancy, but it would allow him to start building some much-needed momentum in the Premiership title race during a packed festive schedule. Aberdeen come into this game having lost their final Europa Conference League match away to Sparta Prague, with the Dons finishing second bottom in the standings. This is massive for Celtic. Sunday at 3 p.m, the pressure is on. In other news, former Celtic winger Lewis Morgan has sealed a move to MLS expansion side San Diego FC. San Diego announced the trade on Tuesday, securing the 29-year-old Scottish international as part of their long-term planning rather than an immediate addition. Morgan will officially join the expansion side ahead of the 2026 season, when San Diego begin preseason preparations following a remarkable first year in MLS. The deal is significant in financial terms by league standards. New York will receive up to $1.1 million in general allocation money, with a guaranteed portion arriving in 2026 and additional conditional funds tied to performance factors. San Diego also received $525,000 in allocation money back from the Red Bulls in 2027, while New York retain part of Morgan's 2026 salary budget charge and gain a future Superdraft pick. The structure reflects MLS's unique market, where squad building is shaped as much by budget tools as by transfer fees. The club enjoyed an exceptional debut season, setting expansion records for points and wins before reaching the Western Conference final. Adding an experienced MLS attacker with international pedigree is a logical step as they look to build on that foundation rather than start from scratch. Morgan's Scotland connection also remains relevant. He has earned 7 senior caps and was part of the squad at Euro 2024, reinforcing his standing as a reliable option at international level even while playing club football outside Europe's major leagues. New York's head of sport Julian de Guzman was careful to frame the departure respectfully, praising Morgan's professionalism through both setbacks and success. While his time at Celtic was marked by flashes of quality rather than sustained impact, his move to North America has allowed him to establish himself at a consistent professional level, away from the constant pressure of Glasgow. Lastly, Championship Trio are eyeing a January move for Celtic winger Yang Hyun-jun. Now, with just under 2 weeks until the January window opens, renewed interest from clubs south of the border has brought his situation back into focus. For Celtic, this is not simply a story about transfer speculation, but about timing, depth, and how much further disruption the squad can realistically absorb. Yang arrived with promise and flashes of quality, but has struggled for consistency and minutes during a turbulent campaign. That reminder of September is crucial. Yang's proposed move to Birmingham City was not a vague inquiry, but a deal that advanced deep into deadline day before falling apart. At the time, Celtic opted to retain him, either by choice or circumstance, and Yang stayed on as part of the squad. Since then, however, his role has not significantly expanded, and his appearances have often been fleeting or from the bench. Renewed interest from multiple championship clubs suggests that Yang's stock remains respectable in the English market. For Celtic, that presents a familiar dilemma. Selling or loaning a player who is not central to the manager's plans can make sense financially and strategically, but doing so when options are already limited carries risk, particularly in the middle of a season and amid instability. That's all for today's Celtic news. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on Nancy's situation. We'll be back later today with more updates. Hail, hail.